Donald Trump promised during the election that he was going to reverse Barack Obama's war on coal, but it turns out that it's going to be tough to save coal because in the end, it's looking less like coal is being attacked and more like it's dying of natural causes. It's infected by some sort of coaly diabetes. And so it's gonna be hard to suddenly have millions more coal jobs. And the reason I'm saying this is a number of different energy industry analysts recently came together and they're trying to understand what the energy landscape is going to be in the near future because there's obviously huge amounts of money in that. If the money was on future coal production and new coal facilities, new coal-fired plants and all of that, that's where they're gonna put their money because they want to get rich. But it turns out that they think that not only are there not gonna be a lot of new production of that form of particularly dirty energy, we're actually going to be retiring a lot of it. One analyst, Joe Rahm, said that over the next decade, 73 gigawatts of coal will be retired. That's 1/4 of the current US coal capacity. And we read his analysis. He was actually one of the most conservative. I actually think that was the author of the article. Bruce Hamilton, director in Navigant Consulting Energy Practice, is the one who did the analysis. Other analysts were saying they think up to 1/3 of all of the coal-fired energy production over the next decade or so is going to be retired. And the reason is simple, because it is increasingly more and more true every year that it's simply cheaper to use, unfortunately, things like natural gas, which are also dirty, non-renewable forms of energy, but things like solar and wind and other forms of clean renewable energy. And that gap between them and coal is only getting worse for coal.
So the issue is not that this is because of the president. The issue is that the president made a huge statement that cannot possibly come true. It's like, it's just like walking into a supermarket and like saying we're gonna hire 500 new cashiers while standing in the self-checkout aisle. And everyone is like, no, that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, or we're gonna hire 500 new cashiers and a person's watching on their computer and then they put something in their Amazon basket, which is me, actually. Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I'm sorry for coal, but apparently solar and wind provided 98% of all new US power capacity in January and February, according to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. People are not building new coal plants. I wish that it was because it is suicidal for humanity. It turns out it's just because it's not economically feasible. I'll take it.
Terry, take what you can get.
I'll take it.
Right.
I mean, I would prefer that a good portion of it was not being replaced with natural gas. But more and more it is going to be solar and it's gonna be wind and it's gonna be geothermal and wave and all of these other forms of renewable energy. And that is certainly a good thing. And unfortunately, Donald Trump's disconnect with reality, it's not just a thing where he doesn't know what's going on behind his back. He unfortunately does have some influence, not necessarily to save coal, but to make it harder for clean energy. So we reported heavily a few months back when he announced that he was going to be instituting new, I believe it was 20 to 30% tariffs on solar cells being imported into the US. So that is going to artificially help out coal for a bit by reducing the comparative advantage of solar. But in the end, that's the direction we're moving in. And what we should be doing is subsidizing it. That's what we had under Barack Obama. And unfortunately, Donald Trump is so eager to erase every legacy of Barack Obama that even the stuff like this that's very helpful is also getting caught in that
crossfire. When is coal gonna pull itself up by its bootstraps is the question. I mean, this welfare.
Dig itself out of that mine.
Yeah, this welfare for coal is just, it's outrageous. And the thing is, this is where the split of Americans and belief systems always go. The thought process is the people that believe in solar and wind and renewable energies are not real Americans. They're not really about that grit, hard work of our coal forefathers that did the real work. They're pansies, they're soft, and they don't wanna dig into the middle of a mine and die at 45 years old or destroy their body and then end up on prescription drugs lead to opioid abuse. All this, there's so many, I don't mean to go for all these different angles, but the thing is, we're subsidizing something that just on its own isn't working. Because if we do something that's working, or that could work, if we maybe go along in that direction, the natural progression of it, we're seen as soft. It goes back to these baseless, insulting type of characterizations of something to make sure you don't agree with it. Like, oh, well, you're gonna go with solar? Oh, you know what solar does? What are the windmills? You windmill.
I don't understand.
There's bad words coming in my head that I'm not jumping out of.
I don't get why. Look, digging coal is badass in a sense, certainly, because it's so dangerous. I know, I've been into coal mines. I've crawled through knee-high tunnels in coal mines. It's extremely dangerous. Many people have lost their lives, some of them thanks to Don Blankenship, but historically it's been really bad. But why is it not badass to create a multi-100-yard tall wind tower that can harness the energy of the wind? Why is creating a gigantic field of solar cells that absorbs the white hot energy of the sun and turning it into electricity, why isn't that badass? It's difficult too. I know that a lot of people don't lose their lives doing it. Let's start knocking off a few solar employees. Maybe then it'll become badass and we can afford to transition over to clean energy.
House and put some panels on top, you weakling.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.